They certainly could. I mean, this is their last chance. I think that, you're playing against a football team in the Broncos that's getting a brand-new quarterback in Brandon Allen, so you have a little bit of an advantage there. But it's really for the Browns. It's always been about the Browns. It's about how do you manage your expectations, how do you get ready for a football game, and can you get better week to week? And in the NFL, if you don't get better from week to week, then you're just going to be an average football team at the end of the day, and the Browns are below average. And so when you look at this team, first thing, discipline. Are they a disciplined football team? Absolutely not. They have 24 pre-snap penalties. That's just hard to do. That's fifth most in the NFL, 24 pre-snap penalties. First game of the season, 18 penalties. Last week against the Patriots, 13 penalties. So they're continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again, and they're not getting better. All three of those things, that's what get head coaches fired. So they have to find a better way to do it. Again, they have the ability to run the football. Don't put as much pressure on your quarterback. That's what I would be aiming to do. But at some point, you're going to have to throw the football down the field. That means Baker Mayfield is going to have to throw the ball to the guys in his jersey, not the opposing jersey. He leads the leads in interceptions, not doing a very good job of taking care of the ball.
Yeah, the pre-snap penalties and the turnovers, those are all focus issues, and that's something as a head coach, either you're coaching it that way or you're allowing it to happen. Either way, the results are it's going to be hard to win football games when you're doing that. I mean, if you're going to try to win games, you have to first do the things to avoid losing football games, and the Browns just have not been able to get out of their own way. And so looking at this matchup, I mean, the Cleveland Browns better be careful here. Like, it's easy to get up after a bye week knowing that you're going to play an undefeated Patriots team in Foxborough. But to have the attention to detail and the focus during the preparation to go play a 2-6 Denver Broncos team, it might not be as crispy, might not be as sharp. And this Denver Broncos team has had a lot of clubs on the ropes. It's just things late in games don't typically go their way. But the Denver Broncos are a sack safety by Von Miller away from getting a win in Indy. And I think we would all agree the Indianapolis Colts are a pretty good football team.
Or just a missed Adam Vinatieri field goal.
That's right.
Exactly.
Vinatieri's got to kick a field goal at the gun from 50-plus, or the Broncos win that game.
Exactly. So, I mean, the Cleveland Browns have to be careful with this one because, Nick, you said this earlier, they can't save their season with this win, but if they lose this game on Sunday, their season is over.
Right. That's exactly correct. There is no way to save it this week, but it can die this week. Because we need to talk about what they've done the last month. Because week 4, they beat Baltimore. And it's like, okay, Baltimore had just lost to Kansas City. They lose to Cleveland. And it's like, oh, all right. So we're tied for first in the division. In fact, they were in first in the division because of the tiebreaker. What have they done since then? They go to San Francisco on national television and get annihilated, embarrassed in that football game. They play Seattle and blow a 2-score lead, and then when they have a chance to come back and salvage the game, Baker throws a pick on that final drive. They then have a week to prepare because they have a bye week for New England. How does that game start? Here's the first 4 drives. 3 and out, turnover, turnover, turnover. You mentioned earlier, when we were talking about Baltimore, John Harbaugh's record after the bye. Andy Reid famously has an outstanding record after the bye. Bill Belichick's got a great record under all circumstances, but particularly after the bye. The best coaches have their teams extra prepared. Sean McVay, when he has extra time, whether it be a Thursday night game, beginning of a season, after a bye, going into this year, the only game he had lost in those circumstances were against Bill Belichick actually going. The best coaches in football get you ready to go. The Browns played, I thought, actually pretty well in that football game, except for the first quarter where they lost the football game. So now you play Denver, a team who is right now got to feel as sick about where they are as anybody in football because they're 2-6, but they are 3 field goals in the final 30 seconds of games away from being 5-3, away from being tied with the Chiefs for first place in the AFC West. If you can't beat that team, with Brandon Allen taking his first career snaps, if you can't at least salvage this portion of the season a little bit, then, yeah, Freddie Kitchens is he coaching for his job? He is. Not because they'll fire him 9 games, 8 games.
At the end of the season, or do you think he's coaching for his job after this game?
Well, so I do not think John Dorsey is going to fire a first-year head coach inside of his first year. I do think if they lose this game, their season is over. And if this season is an abject disaster, Freddie Kitchens can sign his head coach death certificate, if you will, with a loss this weekend. Now, it won't actually be delivered until the first week of January. But if they lose this game, I would wager any amount of money he is not the head coach week 1 of the 2020 season.
A big part of an offensive coach's job is to make sure that your young quarterback progresses and gets better year after year. Baker Mayfield has not gotten better. Actually, he's gotten worse. And so this football team, and Freddie Kitchens' job in particular, certainly is in big concern because their quarterback in their play has not gotten better, but the talent around them has. And that's more of a bigger problem because the expectations were high, and right now what they've been delivering has been very, very low.
Listen, remember at the beginning, in the offseason when they were looking for a head coach after what happened last year, one of the names that was brought up was Mike McCarthy's name, who's been in the league many years, who understands what discipline is, who's not going to allow pre-snap penalties and turnovers and sloppy play and all of it. But they instead went with someone who Baker felt very comfortable with, who probably Baker put great words into John Dorsey for. And you see that it's not really working out. Would the other way have been better? Is it that the team needed more discipline, or are the players equally to blame as Freddie Kitchens?
Well, I listened to all the comments from Baker Mayfield, and maybe he needs a coach, either an offensive coordinator or a quarterback coach that's going to be disciplined with him.
And not
that's going to hold him accountable. That's going to say, listen, this is not okay. Don't pitch the ball to the other team. If you see the color, hold on to the football. If your guy is double teamed, throw it to the guys in your jersey or just throw it away. Maybe they need to find a guy that's going to be more disciplined. And if you look at this roster, up and down on the offensive, defensive side of the ball, they have a bunch of talent, but discipline has been the issue throughout the entire the Freddie Kitchens era in Cleveland. That's going to be a problem for him as far as the head coaching job.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Just because you're a good position coach or a good coordinator doesn't mean you're going to be a good head coach, because it's not like you're just responsible for Baker Mayfield and his development, but you're responsible for developing a culture on an entire football team. And that's the one question mark that we haven't gotten an answer from Freddie Kitchens so far. And if we continue to have that be a question mark, eventually the answer is going to be no. He's not capable of setting the agenda for this team. He's not capable of providing leadership for a young locker room. And so that was one of the concerns coming into this season, how this team would handle adversity and who they would turn to when things got bumpy. Because, BW, you know this, in an NFL season, you're going to go through some things as a team. It's not going to all go according to plan. And it's how you respond that's going to determine whether or not you have a successful season. So far, the Cleveland Browns have failed at responding in the right way. And if they don't respond this weekend in Mile High Stadium, this season will be considered a failure.
Mike McCarthy is not the guy they should have hired, even if he would have been better than Freddie Kitchens. Bruce Arians is the guy they should have hired. Now, I don't know. It seems like Bruce really wanted to coach Tampa. For some reason or another, it seemed like that's what he was targeting. And maybe
weather's a lot better in Tampa than
weather's
in
a lot better. And maybe he believed in Jameis to a way that I don't necessarily believe in Jameis, or whatever it was. There wasn't a lot of talk about Cleveland hiring Bruce Arians. I'm just simply saying he's an offensive mind who also brings a level of accountability. Right now, I'm very confident saying of the 8 coaches who were hired this offseason, some are unknowns. There are 2 where the team hired the wrong guy. Adam Gase with the New York Jets and Freddie Kitchens with the Cleveland Browns. Now, Zach Taylor's 0-8, but I don't know if he's the wrong guy or not. That team might just be so bereft of talent, and you're retooling it. The Browns made the wrong decision. Now, if they turn it around, he will get a year 2, but at some point, before Baker gets his second contract in this league, he's going to be on his 3rd head coach in this league, and that's not even counting the interim head coach in Greg Williams. And I feel like we know that 7 games in.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.